Good morning, beautiful souls. Happy Friday. Tim Wild's Friday Ascension update from the office in the woods. And it's a chilly morning and it's not freezing cold, and I'm sat here assessing the energy, working with a new crystal, which, to be honest with you, is quite a powerful experience actually, with the magnitude of the X flare that we received last night and the new moon solar eclipse in Libra, and Libra's that's my moon sign. It was quite a week actually, wasn't it? Quite a week. So energy, I feel it a necessity this morning to kind of just do a gentle energy assessment. And first of all, I'd like to kind of cover what occurs when we receive huge bursts or doses of photonic radiation from that lovely glowing orb in the sky, the sun. And it really does affect us. Okay, I mean, we've spent years and years, talking about the anchoring of the pillars of light, the establishment of new bandwidths of energy, especially I think from 2015 onwards. We really started to notice the difference in the kind of the planetary dynamic after the law of one was re-established kind of on a planet-wide basis. But overall, in the decade leading up to the December 22 solstice, we just saw pivotal dates that would be matched with a rising of energy, a little bit like a roller coaster. And I've explained this before in my events. The energy would go up and it would peak. We would feel it, we would celebrate it, we'd be part of it. It would be maybe an equinox, or it would be a supermoon, or it would be the Lion's Gate, or it would be a solstice. And then we'd have the period of downtime afterwards, where the energy would settle. It would never go back to where it was previously. It'd always be a little bit higher. But in the meantime, we would get rest, we would get integration, we'd get that. Some of us would actually begin to feel almost a little bit lost or depressed during these periods of time, because we would thrive on the excitement of the energies coming in. And I'm talking from personal experience here. The first 10 years of the Ascension process, from the cosmic moment, the 21st of December 2021, was a roller coaster, up and down and up and down, and it went. But every time the downtime occurred, it would settle a little bit higher than it was previously, and we'd have a lot of integration to do, but we would get that window of time. Now, over the course of that decade, from 2012 to 2022, with the kind of the recuperation periods would get shorter and shorter. So initially we could kind of almost set our watches by, we're going to get like a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, maybe a month longer to assimilate and integrate the energy. And towards the end of that decade, once we'd kind of hit 2020 onwards, we'd get a maximum of a 48 hour window. So as you can see, by this movement of energy, it sped up and sped up. And now what we're experiencing, and this has been going on all of this year, all of last year, is that when we get a spiritual date, when we get an event, when we get something occur like that incredible new moon, the solar eclipse, and not even including or mentioning the other ones, the energy just peaks and it stays there. And so that's why we felt so intensely tested, compressed, constantly wired with the frequencies and the energies running through us, to the point where a lot of us are like, I have got to stop, I've got to step back, I have to integrate. And if we don't honour this, then our bodies will make us. And in many cases, this is wrapped into incredibly powerful and challenging initiations where our physical bodies literally take control of our pathway because we can no longer operate them or steer them in the previous way. And this has happened through diet, it's happened through physical shifts, say such as illness or things that are occurring, or things that we would assess maybe as something going wrong with the physical self. We're being reset so that we can hold the vibration at a much higher frequency, but losing all of the programming, the stuck energy, the past life karma, the blockages, all of the things that we haven't looked at, even though we might have been quite fastidious with our shadow work. But a sun flare is a different beast altogether. So you might have noticed there's been an abundance of them this year. You know, last year I think there was still what we would consider almost an uncomfortable amount of the photonic radiation coming down to the planet. This year I don't think I can actually remember a month without something significant happening with the sun. And this is the real driver for our physical change at the moment in time. I mean, this stuff, if you look at it on a structure, on an electronic level, it has the capacity to really mess with the systems. And we are electronic beings wrapped in water with a very, very powerful soul, but compacted into this body. And our systems really genuinely feel like they are being tampered with when this occurs. So all of this, I see it as the sun speaking. Okay, the sun speaks. It delivers instructions, and those instructions are then sent to us and Mother Earth. And we have already, long ago, agreed to comply with these instructions to the best of our ability, which means evolving. Okay, it means actually taking responsibility for our ascension process. But what happens when we start to receive and integrate light on a very physical level like this? I mean, I've covered this before, but each time it changes. It changes slightly because our reactions and our bodily responses and our physicality is evolving, as is the frequency of this planet, let alone the consciousness of the outside, the 3D matrix. I might tap into that a little bit later, but at the moment, this is about you, it's about me, it's about all of the other light workers who are occupying this shared field. Look at it from the target perspective. By the December solstice, winter in the north, summer in the south, we are looking to have achieved a golden ratio of 50%. 50% of the souls, the beautiful shiny souls on this planet, holding, manifesting in whatever way they are ready to do so, the actualization or the connection to their monad, the representation of the mighty I Am presence here on Earth. That's massive, okay? You know, if you forget all of the other things that are going on the ascension process, you can bring that one to the forefront. 50% of all living conscious beings on this world connected to their monads. 50%. So if you cast if you want a kind of like an idea of how significant that is, I always cast my mind back into the past, and there's a beautiful story that's brought forwards by one of the archangels, who states very clearly that during our journey through the third dimension, and I consider the depths of that to be from the fall of Atlantis over 10,000 years ago to the point at which our frequency started to rise, which was the 21st of December 2012. There was a 2,000-year period of preparation from the point at which Christ lived upon this planet, where the frequency had been pre-prepared to do what it's doing now. So the land was prepared, the ley system was prepared, everything was put in place because that one soul had managed to anchor in the Christed consciousness onto this planet and begun the ball and set the ball rolling. So during that 10,000 year period, I consider it to be the lowest of the low. That was when the frequency got to the very bottom point that it was sustainable to exist in as a school. You couldn't get any lower than that, and that was Earth. That was the school. That was life. That was the learning conditions. That was the just basically the perfection of the matrix, to experience that low frequency, to learn from it, to incarnate on this planet, not knowing who you were, where you'd come from, what your reason to be here is, and simply surviving. And as you survive, you relearn or re-navigate your skill sets. You become the sole function of what you are intending to be there for. Or in many cases, people returned again and again to play out their mistakes, repair their karma. And so, you know, the cycle rolled on in that fashion. But obviously during that period of time, particularly in the more modern, the more modern parts, as we're getting more towards our timeline, our particular sphere of existence, there have been multiple occasions where this planet could have just, we could have eradicated ourselves through sheer stupidity. And most of you will know automatically I'm referring to the nuclear powers, especially, you know, once it had become weaponized. And so divine intervention has occurred not just in this particular period but previously as well, where such was the level of density on Earth, it would have been very, very easy for humankind to just cease to exist. And those scenarios were stopped each time by intervention. One of the interventions was the fact that there were 4 people on this planet at the time, only 4 souls. That's 4 living human beings amongst all of the other millions who were holding and connecting to their mighty I Am presence. So that was enough. 4 people out of millions and millions, you know, like the billions of souls that were existing on Earth at the time. Obviously nowhere near the numbers that are now, but they were here. And they were enough to hold the consciousness just high enough so that it didn't, we didn't destroy ourselves in whatever way was coming at that particular time. So imagine what we are doing now with the impending percentage of 50% of the people. So if you look at it mathematically, there's 8 billion people roughly on this planet, give or take, you know, a couple of 100,000 here or there, I should imagine. Half of them, 4 billion people, will be giving they will have the opportunity to be standing connected to their monads, holding the frequency of their mighty I Am presence. We're not going anywhere backwards. We're not going off to the side. We're not going on a tangent timeline. We're not creating something that we don't wish to see, to be, to achieve in this world. We are very much now on the course, the path, the trajectory of the golden timeline, the golden Atlantean community blueprint, whatever you want to call it. That's where we are. That's where we're going. So all of these bursts of photonic radio, like, you know, the light, the plasma, the interaction with our DNA, with the waters of our body, all of the things that we are experiencing at this time, that's for this period. That's what's occurring at the moment to bring us into this state where we are able to comfortably or otherwise hold that frequency of light, that candle, that torch, that beam in the darkness that is required at this moment to cut through the density that is still existing on this world and simply out alchemize it. It's, if you want to look at it from maybe a competition view, a competition viewpoint, which I know is it's a 3D construct. It's the team that's got them. It's the team that's the fittest that wins the races, or it's the boxer that can take the most punches and get back up again in the boxing ring. If you looked at it from a competition perspective, the team that holds the highest frequency wins the race to the end of the line. And we are definitely now looking at being the team that has got all of the frequencies, all of the downloads, all of the activations fully in place. And it kind of puts us into the realm where the race is already won. We've just got to do the work in order to get ourselves to the finish line in one piece. And for a lot of people, that feels like extremely hard work, and I feel you. Never has there been a more transformative year on a physical level. 2024 has been the year of giving up the things that are no longer good for us. You might notice I'm slurping on my tea this morning. I don't want tea, I want coffee, but I can't drink it, so it's tough. And there's if you go back through my year, if you've been following me, you remember that there's other things that have had to fall by the wayside. But that in the significance of the grand scheme is what we've agreed to do. If you have accepted your responsibility on this planet, if you've said, I'm here to work, so sometimes it causes a feeling of trepidation or resistance within people to say to the universe, I'm ready to be seen, I'm ready to stand up, I'm ready to honour my responsibilities, I'm here to fulfil my role that I incarnated for on this world. Sometimes that can be one of the biggest steps, because in many cases in our survival, in our lives, the way that we move through our incarnations, human beings are survivalists by nature. We will always find a way to navigate whatever circumstances we're being presented with and continue to thrive, or to live and to breathe and to exist and to be here. So many of us have developed strategies and coping mechanisms to be happy with what we've got. And in many cases, the discomfort that we experience from leaving those boundaries can be excessive. But if you've agreed to be here in your highest form, representing your highest self, then quite often you've got to step out of those boundaries. You've got to drop what you were doing previously. It could be leaving a toxic relationship, it could be leaving work that no longer serves you, it could be having to accept the fact that the people that you were around you previously are no longer resonant with you in any way, shape or form. They're going to fall away, and all of a sudden new beings are starting to be attracted to you. But in the meantime, you might be stood there completely alone. You might feel like you've got absolutely no support. You might feel completely naked in the eyes of the universe, cast upon this planet with all these responsibilities and these discomforts moving through your bodies and these weird thoughts in your head, unable to explain your experiences. But here you are at this moment in time, doing this job, anchoring this light, being here. And once you have committed, and this is the resistance point, once you actually said to the universe, I am here, I am ready, that's when it starts. That's when the fun begins. And if you're at that point at this moment in time, be kind to yourself. Allow yourself the space to move into your role, because it's coming very quickly. The roles that we are being presented with are responsibilities, are individual, personal responsibilities to ourselves and to the people that are close to us all around us, but also the planetary responsibilities, that collective standing up, I am, the mighty I am presence. I am here, and I am part of the difference, the change, the evolvement of this world. The next 2 months, as I've said in my previous videos, are pivotal. If we are going to be moving to that golden ratio, that 50% by the December solstice, whatever you are being required to do at the moment, just simply allow yourself to flow into the task in whatever way it's being presented. It might be that you have to completely step back. Okay, you might have to utterly step back, to drop everything that you think is important to you, that you imagine that you must be doing, to simply step back, to let go, to let God. Allow yourself to be the vehicle or the receptacle for the divine light. Anchor it in, and when it's time to step forwards, to move forwards, just do so with grace and ease, knowing that you are utterly loved and supported by the universe, and that you are part of a huge growing field that is no longer racing for the finish line with any thought or distractions in any way, shape or form. It is simply completing the race, and doing so with the most impeccable results that we can possibly manage. So that golden timeline, that ascension timeline, everything that we're going to be working towards, it's now very much the reality, but we've got to get ourselves there. We have got to get ourselves there in the most beautiful state possible, and we have all of the opportunities to do so now, providing that we don't give ourselves to the distractions of the outer field. I haven't even really mentioned the 3D matrix and all of the carnival that's going on at the moment, because I don't really think it warrants any. I've been mentioning it for so long now, and for those of us that can see the ridiculousness of what comes forward, it's very obvious, it's very apparent. This period is about you. It's about me, it's about everybody else in the field, just taking that time, that responsibility to give ourselves what we need so that we can cross that finish line, we can achieve what we set out to achieve with that frequency absolutely intact, just so beautifully resonant and bright. And the X-flares are all part of this at the moment. If you're feeling the effects of all of that radiation coming in, drink more water, go out in nature, barefoot, doesn't matter if it's cold, ground yourself in, take that walk, do some yoga, move or be still. Remove everything from your life that might be toxic input that you don't need, and make sure that your vessel is clear. That's instructions that I'm receiving every day. Clear ground, be as divine as you possibly can in thought, word and deed, and everything else will fall into place. So, speaking of keeping everything impeccable, on Sunday night I am going to be working with the divine principles, and this particular event is, I feel it's in honour to my good friend Paul Debris Carey, who has brought through some beautiful information over the years, but the divine principles is something that I very much enjoy working with, and of course I'll leave Paul's details so that you can connect with him in underneath the video. So that's Sunday night, Ascension Club, 7:15 UK time. Come and join me if you want to hop on. It's going to be lovely information and meditation. And then on the 13th of October, Karen Main and I are celebrating the 1010 portal with a full day's workshop, and that's going to be over in Blandford and Dorset. Again, I'll put the information from that underneath. Sending you all so much love. See you soon. Bye for now.